Patriots have suffered through a strange and disconcerting year, and now in this their season finale, James Brown reports that more oddities await them.
In Foxborough today, the first sellout of the season will be on hand, but ironically, two-thirds of the 60,000 fans expected today are from the New York area. Meanwhile, on the New England side of the ledger, two prominent no-shows will be the team's owner, Victor Kiam, and the new chief executive officer, Sam Jankovich. My partner is Randy Cross. And Randy, if the absence of the Patriots leadership is an example of the insignificance of today's game, how will the Giants approach today's contest?
Well, for the New York Giants, this will be very much a business-like day. Head coach Bill Parcells has 3 goals for this game. Number 1, he wants a power running game from Otis Anderson and company. They've got to pound on these Patriots. Number 2, he needs great special teams. According to Parcells, great special teams wins in the playoffs. And number 3, he needs a defense to create turnovers and to create some excitement here in Foxborough. You talk about injuries for the New York Giants. Linebacker Carl Banks will be out of this game today with an injured groin.
All right, Randy. Well, at a time of the year when weather ought to be a concern here in New England, late autumn-like conditions will prevail as temperatures are expected in the 50s. And that's the story from here in Foxborough.
All right, JB.
Thank you very much, Greg, and welcome to Foxborough Stadium on the NFL's 17th and final Sunday of the regular season, where the playoff-bound Giants intend to show no mercy in the season closer for the disappointing New England Patriots. That'll be coming up next after this message from your local station. Foxborough Stadium is the site of today's NFL regular season finale between the hapless New England Patriots at 1-14 and the NFC East Division champion New York Giants. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown along with Randy Cross. And despite the fact that the Giants have lost 3 of their last 5 games, on paper, this contest has all the makings of a massacre. And Randy, my question is, can the Patriots in any way make this a competitive contest?
James, to be brutally honest, no. If these two teams were boxers, you couldn't find a boxing commission in America that would put this fight on. For the Patriots, they want to get the season over. For the New York Giants, they want to send a message to the rest of the league going into the playoffs. They want to dominate and crush a weak opponent today.
Late autumn-like conditions indeed here today. You wouldn't believe that 2 days ago the first snowstorm hit Boston here, 56 degrees. New England has won the coin toss. Matt Barr will be kicking off for the New York Giants. Michael Kempson back deep for the Patriots. And we're underway. And from 1 yard deep, Robinson. And Robinson dropped at the 19. Myron Guyton and company on the tackle, a 21-yard return. So Tommy Hodgson, the rookie out of LSU, will lead the charge for the Patriots, starting his 6th contest this season. And the offensive line in front of him, a big but porous offensive line, anchored by the Pro Bowler, Bruce Armstrong. Running game down near the bottom of the NFL, 25th. Wide receivers Irvin Fryer and Hartley Dykes. 1st and 10 for the Patriots. Ball at their own 19. Hodgson to pass on 1st down, and the screen complete. And George Adams takes it across the 25 to about the 26, and an impressive defense the Patriots will be facing, Randy.
And their defensive front changes up. They don't play just the 3-4 anymore. They move these guys all over the front of the offensive line. And the linebacking crew for the Giants, as always, led by Lawrence Taylor, Johnny Cooks, number 98, replacing Carl Banks out with a strained groin.
It'll be a 2nd and 6 situation for the Patriots out of the pro set. Adams on the ground, and Adams running hard to about the 27. Eric Howard on the stop for the Giants will bring up a 3rd and 2. And Randy, a lot of camaraderie. Some of these ex-Giants, George Adams included, a little pregame chat with Lawrence Taylor and company.
Well, it's always a friendly situation, too, and there's one team's playing their last game of the year. The other team's getting ready to play the playoffs. One group's worried about getting home tomorrow. The other group's worried about how many days they're going to have to practice in the next 2 weeks during their time off for the playoffs.
John Stevens and George Adams, the backs. Hodgson on 3rd down. Gets rid of it just as he was hit. Incomplete. And Lawrence Taylor put the pressure on Hodgson. And welcome to Hodgson from Mr. Taylor.
If the Patriots have a chance of being competitive today at all, they must throw the ball well, and Hodgson must get protection. You see him stepping up is what he needs to do, but he must get more protection from the outside. They're obviously going to emphasize holding him up front and making the linebackers run around the outside.
Ryan Hansen on for the first punt of the afternoon, and David Meggett back to receive a poor punt, picked up at the 34 and dropped at the 40. And give the credit to Chris Gannon with a nice hit to prevent more of a return. A 38-yard punt, 7-yard return. Jeff Hostetler making his second start of the season in place of the injured Phil Simms. Bill Parcells says he wants the quarterback to gain a lot more confidence going into the playoffs. And an offensive line, Randy, that's rapidly approaching the excellence of the '86 Super Bowl team. Big and strong, especially run blocking. Rodney Hampton has been carrying the load the past 3 weeks in the backfield. 1st and 10 for the Giants. Ball at their own 40, on the ground, and stopped. Otis Anderson, only a 1-yard gain on the play, will bring up a 2nd and 9. And the New England defense, Randy.
The defensive front will be challenged today. They were mauled last week by the New York Jets. The linebacking crew led as always by Andre Tippett, still playing like a Pro Bowler. And the defensive backfield, Ronnie Lepet is the man to watch there.
2nd and 9 facing Phil Simms. Make that Jeff Hostetler and the Giants out of the pro set. Hostetler with time. Throws it complete for the first down. Mark Ingram. A 13-yard pass play from Hostetler to Ingram. 24th catch of the season for Mark Ingram. And he's coming off of a big game last year. Make that last week.
And if Parcells has a worry in this game, too, it's that Hostetler stays completely healthy. The offensive line of the New York Giants in the first 2 plays here did a weak effort on the first play of a run. And on the second play, a pass, Hostetler took a good shot from Williams, the defensive. Got to do a lot better for the rest of this game.
Ball at the 46 of New England. 1st and 10. On the ground again. And Anderson bullying his way for the first down and taking Fred Marion and company with him. A 14-yard bull run by Otis Anderson.
And this is something you saw all week long last week when the Patriots faced the Jets. They tried stunts, they tried movement, and the Jets cleared them out. And here the Giants absolutely crushed the right side of the defense. And Otis Anderson's not going to fool a lot of people running around and giving him moves. His game is to go north and south and gain as many yards as he can.
Strong tackle runner on 1st and 10 from the 33. And it's Anderson again. And Anderson inside the 30 will bring up a 2nd and 6. The beleaguered head coach of the New England Patriots, Rod Rust, first year at the helm, was a defensive coordinator here. And I tell you, taking the adversity very soldier-like here, Randy.
Well, he's taking it very, very well. I mean, our meeting with him yesterday, very down, almost seemed like talking to a death row inmate. I mean, he was so sullen about his situation, but very much a very strong and solid man.
2nd and 6 from the 29 of New England. Giants marching. Anderson again on the ground, and Anderson down to about the 23, stopped by Marion Hobby. And Otis Anderson, who we thought initially would not be starting, got the nod from Bill Parcells. 4 carries for 25 yards for Anderson.
Now watch right here. Obviously, the Giants are going to attack the bubble right here. They want to go after the bubble with their size advantage, working against the defense of the New England Patriots. A little sprint draw, bringing Roberts around the block on Jaraschuk, and Anderson just reads the blocking, does a great job from there. So far, this line of the New York Giants, after 2 off plays, are really manhandling the front of the Patriots.
And yet another first down. This one is Maurice Carthon, and he gets the call. Giants not pretty, but very effective. Just blow you off the ball with that big front line. This will be a 2nd and 6 situation for the Giants.
This is very much what the Giants like to do. They like to run the ball, they pound at people, and you can see when they get inside the 20, now that ranking is on touchdowns. It doesn't count field goals. When they get inside the 20, 6th best in the league, and when they get in there, they run the ball. They are a power football team that makes very few mistakes.
9:23 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Giants with the ball at the 18 of New England. And on second down, flags everywhere as Anderson stops. Looks like Doug Riesenberg might have been the one moving, the guilty party.
Right. Number 72 on the offense. It's still second down.
And that's the call from Red Cashin.
5-yard penalty on the play. It'll be second down and 10.
And Riesenberg out of the University of California. Our producer Bob Monsbach went to Cal and says this guy was a good defensive player in college. Obviously very aggressive. He's still got that defensive blood in him, wants to attack. You got to wait until the ball snapped is the only problem.
Giants push back 5, makes it 2nd and 11. 7th play of the drive coming up. Hampton, the tailback. Hampton, the ball carrier. And Hampton squirting his way inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line. He's going to be about 4 shy of what was needed for the first down.
And earlier we saw Otis Anderson blasting the ball. Hampton's a young, aggressive running back that Bill Parcells really likes. He's got the speed. He's got the cutting ability that Otis Anderson doesn't have. And Bill Parcells says the best thing that's happened to this young running back is having Maurice Carthon and Otis Anderson around him. They've got the work ethic and the style to show this kid how he should play in the NFL.
Parcells says that Hampton is much like a student, really intent. Listen, 3rd and 4. 3 wide receivers in for the Giants. This drive has seen only 1 pass from Hostetler. Here's the second one. And it's complete for the first down to David Meggett, still on his feet. And Meggett wrangling his way down to about the 7. A 10-yard pass play from Hostetler to Meggett. Fred Marion on the stop.
You hear all too often from people that winning is attitude. You got to have the proper attitude to be a winner. Well, you also have to have the proper attitude to play defense and tackle. When you're losing games, it shows up in little things, like your tackling. Weak arm effort. You can't arm tackle a winning running back like David Meggett.
And Bill Parcells looking at his squad as they're in scoring territory. We'll be back in just a moment. No score here in the first quarter of play at Foxborough Stadium between the Giants and the Patriots. 8 plays, 53 yards. Giants have burned 5 minutes and 19 seconds off the clock. As you take a look at Ronnie Lepet, who was helped off the field in that last play. And Otis Anderson hit by Tim Goad for no gain. And we saw Lepet limping off the field, and Randy, injuries have really plagued the Patriots, among other things, this season.
Not all these guys you're going to see on this list are inactive or not playing, but the major impact of the injuries has been on defense. The Patriots have had to change over to a 4-3 defense. They started the season in a 3-4. What it's meant to them, they play 4 linemen now, and they stunt and blitz. Last play, big stunts in the middle broke that running play up. It wasn't a great defensive effort. It was a good scheme.
2nd and goal, ball at the 7. Play action. Hostetler. Complete. At about, and they say incomplete, as you see the official saying that the completion was out of bounds to Mark Bavaro, but there are flags on the play.
And it's going to go against the Giants, and considering where it was thrown, somebody might have pushed off a little bit.
Red Cashin sorting things out.
Offensive pass interference. Number 82 on the offense. Still second down.
And that's Mark Ingram. So now it will bring up a 2nd and goal from the 17.
Well, despite the penalty, let's take a look here and see if Bavaro actually made this catch. Receivers coach Tom Coughlin told us yesterday Bavaro was finally getting back to form, starting to play like he did. Watch that right foot go out of bounds. Right there. He made the catch, but clearly out of bounds after the catch. Did not get 2 feet in.
Hampton and Meggett the backs on 2nd and goal from the 17. Hostetler back to pass. And complete to Meggett. Touchdown, Giants. No flags. And that'll serve as a confidence booster for Hostetler.
And the Giants get a man matchup inside with Jarash, Chuck, and Meggett circling out of the backfield right there. And Hostetler gets some great protection and from there it's all Meggett. You'll see the Giants today passing when they have to. They're not going to pass to pour it on. They'll run to pour it on, but passes when they absolutely have to do it.
Matt Barr with the point after, and it's good. So the Giants cap a 60-yard drive with a touchdown to Meggett. Giants score on their first possession, driving 60 yards in 10 plays, taking 6:20 off the clock. As we take a look at Tom Coughlin, just announced as the new head coach at Boston College.
And he laughed when I asked him, "Well, Coach, you looking forward to that recruiting again? You don't have to do much of that in the pro ranks." But he really is excited. He thinks he's got a program that he can build here in Boston. He says he's lacking one thing significant. That's team speed. And there he is right there with the headset on the left of the pillar.
And back to live action here as Matt Barr kicks it off. And from the 3, Junior Robinson. And Robinson hit hard. 16-yard return by Junior Robinson. And the Patriots will take over.
These New York Giants have one of the best special teams in the NFL. You play against these guys, you better be aggressive. You better run hard. That was an excuse-me effort by Robinson. He kind of got the ball, got up about the 20-yard line, and started cringing like, oh, I know they're going to hit me soon.
An excuse-me effort. 1st and 10 from the 20. Patriots, second possession. Stevens on the ground. And John Stevens met at about the 23. Everson Walls and company will bring up a 2nd and 7. And I tell you, Bill Parcells has often been somewhat criticized, Randy, about being conservative, but he's effective. That scoring drive, 10 plays, 60 yards, as I mentioned, a lot of time off the clock. And Hostetler was 3 of 3 for 39 yards on that drive.
And that was Dave Meggett's first touchdown reception of 1990 here in the 17th week.
Stevens and George Adams, the backs. And Adams running into the strength of that Giants defense.
Well, the Patriots are getting about 1.5 yards of push right now on the Giants. That's about all the cushion the running back has, and there's no crease right now for the back to run into. He's getting about 1.5 yards from the ball, and from there, there's a stone wall greeting him because the linemen are being stood straight up.
First quarter scores, Washington 3, Buffalo Bills nothing.
Rod Russ talking with his players, Fred Marion, McSwain and company.
And remember, he serves as defensive coordinator, too, now that Charlie Sumner quit a couple weeks ago as his defensive coordinator.
And on 3rd and 3, Hodgson throws it incomplete. Had enough yardage for the first down, but Irving Fryer could not hang on to the pass. So the Pats will punt it away again.
And expect this crowd to be unmerciful to drops like this by Irving Fryer. You figure 1/3 of this crowd is Patriots fans, the rest of them are Giants fans. And the Patriots fans are tired of seeing things like this by their home team.
36,000 tickets sold to New York area fans out of the 60,000 in attendance here. Brian Hansen on to punt. And Meggett signaling for the fair catch at the 40. So the Giants will take over after that 33-yard punt, operating from their own 40. Giants on top by a touchdown. Rod Rust, the beleaguered one, as we mentioned before. And Randy, no matter what we talked about yesterday with him, he wanted to focus on this game. And certainly Bill Parcells has to be pleased with the field position on his 2 possessions.
That's right. They've started both drives on the 40-yard line, the Patriots on the 20. Bill Parcells is a ball control field position coach.
2 tight ends, Bavaro and Howard Cross, on the ground. For the first down, Rodney Hampton. Maurice Hurst on the stop, but not before Hampton picks up 15 yards on the run.
And these Giants right now are concentrating the big runs over their left side. And that left side of that offensive line is just blasting off on these guys. William Roberts, John Elliott, Bart Oates at center. And look at Hampton. He's got that wiggle. He's got that shake.
6th first down of the first quarter for the Giants. And Maurice Carthon gets yet another. So the Giants just blowing the Patriots off the line. A 12-yard run by Maurice Carthon.
And Maurice Carthon is a running back people consider a guy that's just sort of spent his career getting calluses on his brain blocking for running backs. You forget, he had a 1,000-yard season with the New Jersey Generals in the World Football League. Look at him. He powers, he runs, he enjoys it. He doesn't get the ball too often. He got the ball a lot last week.
Giants at the 33 of New England. 4:05 remaining in the first quarter. Hampton dancing. 3-yard pickup about for a Hampton stop by Andre Tippett. We'll call it 4. We'll bring up a 2nd and 6. As we look at Andre Tippett and Jeff Hosteller, Tippett certainly has maintained his fire. Frustrated, though, Randy, for obvious reasons. And there's a reason right there. Strong stats.
That holds up. This New York Giants team is going to do a great imitation of the Oklahoma Sooners in their wishbone glory days, because you won't see many balls in the air.
2nd and 6 from the 30 of New England. I formation. Hampton. And Hampton upended at about the 27. Vincent Brown with the hit will bring up a 3rd and 2.
And Andre Tippett, we mentioned at the beginning of the game, he is still playing like a Pro Bowler, but he's the only guy in that defense that really has impact ability here in New England. And because of the beleaguered state of the defense and the injuries, he's actually playing in a position he's not used to and does not exploit his talent. He plays more off the ball and less attacking. He's got to attack constantly to be effective.
On 3rd and 3, Giants with the shotgun. Hosteller. Back to pass, good time. And nearly picked off. Maurice Hurst got a hand on that pass. Intended receiver was Stephen Baker.
It looked like there Hurst got to the ball a little bit faster than he had planned on it. He gets one hand on the ball, but watch this. Am I wrong, or does this look like he could get 2 hands on it and would go all the way for a touchdown? He accelerates and breaks at the ball. Now right here, he's further in front of the ball than he thought. Right now he's thinking, I could have caught that. That could have been mine.
And instead, Matt Barr will attempt a 44-yarder, his longest of the season, a 49-yarder. It's up. And it's good. So Matt Barr, 16 of 21 field goals this year. Giants on top by 10. Giants mean business. 2 possessions, 2 scores. Touchdown throw to make it. Matt Barr, 44-yarder. They lead it 10-0. And in total yards, the Giants 109. New England only 15. Back deep for the Patriots. Michael Timpson and Junior Robinson. And Robinson from the end zone. Greeted by David Whitmore at about the 18. So Bill Parcells has to be pleased with the kickoff return coverage of his squad. And one of the stars on that squad, ideally, has been all season Renee Thompson.
Renee Thompson, the man that always seems to draw a couple of people to block him, going to the Pro Bowl this year as a special team representative of the NFC. Let's take a look at what he does. We get the first block. Now watch him go inside and join a group. Washington's trying to block him there, but now it's a gang. That whole deep kickoff team gets him there.
Back to live action on first down. And Adams, greeted by a number of his friends, a 5-yard pickup on the play. Let's check in New York with Greg Gumbel.
Oh, JB, in Atlanta, you know the Cowboys need a win to join the postseason party, but Ken Willis misses from 34 yards out. They're still scoreless. Should the Cowboys stumble today, it gives the Saints a shot tomorrow night. Back to JB and Randy.
All right, Greg. And boy, Babe Laufenberg has been waiting years for opportunities, and he's got it in front of him today.
We went to the same high school back in Southern California. I know he's got a lot of fans there.
Hodgson. Complete to Fryer, and Fryer looks to have the necessary yardage for the first down. First down of the afternoon for the Patriots as you listen to the sarcastic cheer from the crowd here.
They stand in mass and say, he caught one, he caught one. We'll see Hodson throws his ball out very well. He's really benefited by it being around Steve Grogan and Mark Wilson, the veteran quarterbacks. Whips this one out on a rope. Good effort. Only need about 20 more of those.
1:08 left in the first quarter. John Stevens on the ground trying to turn the corner. And Pepper Johnson runs him out of bounds at about the 32.
There's Pepper Johnson. You know, he says his harshest critics in the world are his two sisters and his mother. You know, how can your sisters and mother? He goes, well, you know, fans and experts, they know a lot about football. And they understand when the ball goes away, I don't make every tackle. He says, but my roommate tapes every game. My mom and my sisters see it. They expect me to make every tackle. And they say, how come you didn't make a tackle on that play?
Adiva and Yvonne being the names of the critics. 2nd and 9. Ball at the 31 of New England. And Hodson, having to get rid of it quickly, throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Hartley Dykes. Well, only the second sellout in 2 years here at Foxborough Stadium for the season finale for the New England Patriots, trying to avoid the worst mark in club history. Right now trailing the Giants by a score of 10-0. James Brown along with Randy Cross, 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play, and it's been all Giants.
Thus far, it hasn't been really a physical pounding as much as it's been kind of like a big brother playing with his little brother and holding him up off the ground. The Patriots have been pretty much powerless.
3rd and 9. Complete for the first down at the 45. Michael Timpson, a 15-yard pass play from Hodson to Timpson.
And you saw Hodson moving around here in the pocket, avoiding the rush, avoiding the pressure, and that's really an addition to this offense that Tommy Hodson brings it. He's got agility and he's got field presence to know where people are, to avoid the pressure and wait until someone can get open.
And that'll do it for the first quarter of play. The Giants scoring twice on their 2 possessions, leading by the score of 10-0. Scenes of a lovely bedroom community here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and inside of Foxborough Stadium, the Giants have owned the action, leading it by the score of 10-0. And there's a fixture with the New England Patriots, 16-year vet, Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan, like I said, has been a great help to Tommy Hodson, the starting quarterback here for New England now. Grogan, 16 years in the league, and has given a lot of that experience and know-how to Hodson.
1st and 10, 3 wide receivers in for the Pats. And Hodson's arm hit by Eric Howard. And the ball is dead.
It's being ruled a incomplete forward pass. Red Cash and the referee was right on that.
As was Eric Howard.
74 on defense was Eric Howard.
Now let's watch. You'll see the rush coming from the left-hand side. And watch Hodson's arm. Look at Howard hit it. It was going forward. Good call. Now it's fun to watch. There's a lineman. The center, Villa, picks that ball up. Figures he's now a running back.
And the play is being reviewed upstairs, but Randy, it seems to be pretty definitive. Dave Hawk is up in the instant replay booth, and the only thing he can be looking at is to see if his arm was indeed going forward, but certainly appeared to be.
Let's watch right here as Howard approaches him. It's going, maybe from the side. That looks like it was a fumble. That ball his arm never had a chance going forward before the ball was out of his hand.
Well, the play will stand as called.
One last time. Let's see if his arm's going forward when it has the ball in it. It does go forward, but I don't believe the ball's in his grasp. Nope.
Inconclusive. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 45. Stevens. And Stevens up near the 49 for about a 4-yard run. Will bring up a 3rd and 6. And let's check back in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, and we'll check back to Atlanta again as the first quarter winds down. The blitz gets to Babe Laufenberg. He puts it up, and it's picked off by Brian Jordan. And once again, the Cowboys are foiled. Laufenberg, 2 of 5, throwing for 35 yards. They're scoreless in the second quarter at Atlanta, James.
All right, Greg, and we can hear the cheering coming all the way from New Orleans.
And you'd expect Jerry Glanville and Atlanta Falcons to blitz and blitz and blitz against Babe Laufenberg.
3rd and 6 here, and complete to Hartley Dykes for the first down at the 40 of New York. 11-yard pass play as Hodson stayed in the pocket taking the hit, but completing the pass.
So far, New England's thrown very few 7-step strict drop-back passes. They're going a lot to the 5 and the 3 steps, a lot of timing patterns. Smart decision against this New York defense. Steve Hodson got a lot of confidence standing up there in the pocket. Nice spiral on the ball.
3 wide outs on 1st and 10. Hodson stepping up and throwing for the home run. Touchdown, Irving Fryer. A 40-yard bomb.
And that's the kind of big play that has plagued the Giants in the last month.
Jason Starowski on for the point after, and it's good as the Patriots complete the longest touchdown pass of the year, a 40-yarder from Hodson to Fryer.
Now watch Hodson play chicken with the outside rush of the New York Giants. Lawrence Taylor coming. Dorsey's coming. He steps up just in time to avoid the rush. And he almost overthrows Fryer, but Fryer turns it into 5th gear and catches up to the ball.
Fryer having a career year, coming into the game with 51 catches. A big one there. As you take a look at the NFC playoff picture, only 1 spot remaining. Dallas can clinch it with the victory. New Orleans hoping otherwise, of course, because they would get in with the Dallas loss. And Randy, talk about a little bit of excitement here. A little bit of excitement only is what the Patriots fans have had all season, but they've got something to cheer about now.
Well, they're yelling and screaming here now, but, you know, James, we look at that playoff picture. One thing that really jumps out at me is all those teams that don't have their quarterbacks right now. The best one to look at, the New York Giants. Phil Simms is out. It's going to be a real shakeup this year in the NFC, especially in the playoffs, to see how these teams can rally around second-team quarterbacks.
And another nugget that jumps out at you, 4 teams in the playoffs could be from the NFC East in the NFC. And Meggett, having second thoughts, decides not to bring it out of the end zone. So it will be a touchback, and the Giants will operate from their own 20. 10-7 ball game, 13:25 remaining in the first half.
For emergency assistance from the Amico Motor Club, the official
9 plays covering 81 yards, 4:08 off of the clock, and a big bomb from Hodson to Fryer, the score for New England.
We mentioned before, Hodson avoids the rush of Taylor and Dorsey, steps up nicely, and puts this ball in the perfect position for Fryer to turn on the speed and run underneath.
Play action by Hostetler, and it's batted up in the air, and could have been and should have been intercepted by New England. Marion Hobby was right there along with Sean Smith. But Smith putting the pressure on, and Hostetler escapes one.
Here's Sean Smith right here. Let's watch him the whole way. You know, Bill Parcells told us yesterday, the athletes play on defense. Those are the guys, the quick guys that could be basketball players. Those are the defensive linemen.
On the ground, Anderson, and Anderson stepping ahead for only about 2. They bring up a 3rd and 8. Ilya Jaraschuk on the tackle. And it looks like the Patriots have a little something to be excited about. Randy, we were talking before, in a bad season, little things are magnified, like injuries, little nicks and nudges that wouldn't hurt you otherwise are magnified.
And Andre Tippett told us yesterday, if these guys on defense for the New England Patriots that play with me aren't ready to go, it could get ugly real early. Right now, the Patriots believe they have a chance. It's up to the Giants to convince them they don't.
Meggett in motion. Hostetler out of the shotgun. Not a great snap. And throws it complete, but it's going to be shy of the first down yardage. Rodney Hampton about 2 yards shy of the first down marker. Well, a busy afternoon in New York for Greg Gumbel.
Well, JB, in Atlanta, nobody wants to take the lead. Greg Davis of the Falcons from 44 yards is wide to the right. Second quarter action, they are scoreless. No action in Atlanta, James.
Well, Greg, some pretty decent action here in Foxborough. The Giants will have to punt their first punt of the afternoon. Sean Landetta having himself a good season. Irving Fryer back for the Patriots. 11:52 remaining in the first half. Giants on top by 3. And a beaut. Fryer from the 24. And takes it up near the 37. A 46-yard punt, 10-yard return. Good field position for the Pats when we come back. Rod Rust saw Tommy Hodgson on the last scoring drive go 5 of 7 for 77 yards and a score, and Hodgson looking impressive.
So far to this point, Hodgson has been the difference for the New England Patriots. Up front, the New York Giants are handling New England, but Hodgson has sidestepped a few times, made some very nice throws, and he has kept the Patriots close.
What was even more impressive about that throw, Hodgson is operating with a broken ring finger on his throwing hand.
It's splintered during the week, but it's only taped for the game.
First and 10 for the Patriots. Ball at their own 35. Stevens, the lone back. Stevens, the ball carrier. And Stevens met by a horde of Giants for no gain. Leonard Marshall leading the way. Take a look at Tommy Hodgson. We were talking about that broken ring finger on his throwing hand. You got a quick glimpse of it there.
See right there, he wears a little plastic splint on the sides of that finger. It's actually a chip fracture right below the first joint there in your ring finger on his right hand. He says the only real effect that has on his throwing motion is a little bit of touch. He loses a little bit of that feel and that spin on the ball at the very end of his release.
Osi Tutupu and John Stevens, the backs for the Patriots. And Tutupu running hard, about 1.5 yards shy of what was needed for the first down. Will bring up a 3rd and 2, call it.
And that 13-year veteran right there out of USC, Mosi Tutupu, big favorite over in his home island over in Hawaii, but he's also made life miserable for a lot of people in the NFL that have forgotten him over his career. They'll say, oh, don't worry about Tutupu, and all of a sudden he'll break off some very critical yards. They won't be huge yards, and he won't rush for 100 yards very often on you, but this is somebody that's always good for the critical yardage.
He ran with some fresh legs that time. Patriots 2 of 4 third down conversions out of the pro set. On 3rd down, Hodgson escapes one tackle and lofts it for Hartley Dyson, overthrows it. Lawrence Taylor, give him the credit for pressuring Hodgson that time and overthrowing the intended receiver. We talk about the value of that.
And you can't say enough about the cool and the composure so far of young quarterback Tommy Hodgson. Lawrence Taylor drew a bead on the spine of Tommy Hodgson. Look at him, he's got him. He's got him wrapped up. LT, grab him. No. Hodgson pulls away and just gets a little too excited with that forward momentum of the throw and overthrows Dyke and doesn't like it.
So Hansen punts it away for the Patriots. Meggett signaling for the fair catch and takes it at the 11. So the Giants, after a 46-yard punt, will operate from their own 11. The Giants started strong in the first quarter and lost a little steam on their last 2 possessions. We have 1st and 10, ball at their own 11.
That looks close there, but the Giants' first 2 possessions, they started on the 40. Last one was their own 20. This one, they're on the 12-yard line going into the wind.
10 minutes remaining in the first half. 2 tight end formation. And flags everywhere stopping the play. Looked to be the left guard, William Roberts.
False start. Number 76 on the offense. Still first down.
They actually call it on John Jumbo Elliott. Tomorrow, celebrate New Year championship implications.
I think that's your game of the day, James. That Cotton Bowl. Great matchup, Texas and Miami.
As Rodney Hampton took the handoff on a 1st and 15 situation, will bring up a 2nd and 11 as he gained only 4 on the play.
Rodney Hampton was the ball carrier.
And you talk about bowl games, James. That game last night, the Holiday Bowl, BYU getting obliterated by Texas A&M. You think a few of those Heisman Trophy balloters wouldn't want a mulligan on their vote for Heisman?
I tell you, ever since Ty Detmer won the Heisman Trophy, 2 blowouts
Against him.
without a doubt. On 2nd and 11, Hostetler upended. Good hit by Sean Smith. First sack of the ball game, and Sean Smith picks up his first sack, period.
Sean Smith coming right here. Keep an eye on him. The big rookie out of Georgia Tech, 6'7", 280. You know, the Giants talk about how Hostetler's movement is a real good addition. Well, he moves. He's got nobody open. And Smith just does get him by the shoelace to bring him down.
Mickey Washington and Junior Robinson making for 6 defensive backs for the Patriots on 3rd and 13. Hostetler throws it to Meggett. And Meggett turns on the afterburners, loses the ball. Live ball. Looks like the Patriots recover.
And suddenly there are a lot more New England Patriot fans here in Foxborough. Look at Hostetler slip it out to Meggett, but watch number 56 Tippett come into the screen and strip the ball right here. Meggett never sees him. He doesn't have proper ball control on that football. And Goat 72 comes up with the ball.
Tippett says, I have a winner's attitude and I'll display it. And he did that time on 1st and 10 as Katupu running hard. And the New York Giants come into today's game having the fewest turnovers in the NFL. Give Tippett credit for adding 1 more.
And it's something that Bill Parcells is very proud of, the lack of turnovers. He's actually looking at a single-season NFL record. He goes, we'd like a record for fewest turnovers by a team. The record was 12.
Well, Parcells indicated, I do not have the greatest talent in a lot of positions, but we have been playing error-free football. That's been the key. 2nd and 6. Ball at the 18 of the Giants. Hodgson to pass. Complete for the first down. And Marv Cook run out of bounds at about the 6. A 12-yard pickup will bring up a 1st and goal for the Patriots.
It was funny watching Tommy Hodgson clap there. He's clapping his wrists together. He doesn't want to hit that bad finger. And he's got this team right now excited about playing football again. These New England Patriots haven't been very excited the last 2-3 months. Right now, they believe they have a chance to knock off a very big favorite in the New York Giants.
Fred Marion said he would be one of the veterans along with Tippett, urging the team on. 1st and goal. Katupu inside the 5. Will bring up a 2nd and goal. Ball will be marked at about the 4.
Put the ball on the 4-yard line.
This is a very fragile excitement for the New England Patriots. At this point in the game, they're just getting their confidence up. They're starting to believe. They're saying, gee, we do have a chance. A big play goes against them, could be critical, could be fatal. They could lose that edge.
6:50 remaining in the first half. Patriots trailing by 3. John Stevens, the back and ball carrier, and pushing his way down to about the 2. We'll bring up a 3rd and goal from about the 2.
New England right now trying to smash it up with the Giants, going right at the heart of the Giants defense and saying, hey, we're coming at you. You better stop us.
And the ball is marked at the 1.
You got to think a sweep or a pass here from the New England Patriots. They're not going to get very far going at the heart of that defense again.
Stevens and Adams the back on 3rd and goal. Stevens. Play action. Hodgson. Incomplete. Intended receiver Marv Cook.
And Hodgson with that short rollout got some pressure at the very end by Mike Fox. Number 93 comes into the screen here late and puts pressure on Hodgson, but a good call by the coaches. A short roll, but the Giants weren't buying. Now watch the ball go to the ground. It was thrown into the ground. Cook trapped it. Right here.
Jason Starofsky will attempt a 19-yard field goal. The time matters up. And he does. So we've got a tie ball game here at Foxborough Stadium with 6:02 remaining in the first half. Patriots inspired. Rod Russ squad has tied the ball game at 10 apiece. And Randy, we mentioned on the NFL Today show that Victor Kiam, the owner, and Sam Jankovic, the chief executive officer, not here cannot be a good sign.
I really don't believe Rod Russ has got a long future here in New England. I happen to like him, met him just yesterday. Very confident, very proud man. This is a head coaching job. If you're a coach, I think he wants this to look good on your resume. This is not a place, I think, they give you the opportunity to win.
Meggett taking it from a yard deep in the end zone and running hard. A flag on the play as Meggett, tackled by Chris Gannon, gets it up near the 18.
And it'll be tripping against the New England Patriots. The Patriot on the ground, believe it was Gannon, reached up and tripped Meggett.
Tripping. Number 91 on the kickers, 10 yards. First down.
Chris Gannon, and Randy, you mentioned before in a little piece on the NFL Today show, only if you're caught is it a penalty. Well, 60,794 on hand for this matchup between the Giants and the Patriots, all tied at 10 apiece with 5:51 remaining in the first half. James Brown along with Randy Cross as we take a look at the trip.
Watch, Gannon's going down. The only thing he has left is to try to get his leg up. That did not look intentional. It looked like his momentum took him to the ground and his legs came up.
Well, you would say that because he took a page out of your book. 1st and 10. And incomplete. Intended receiver was Rodney Hampton.
Right now, a lot of lethargy in the front line of the New York Giants. Their offensive line looks like it's sleepwalking. The Patriots are coming, they're buzzing around, and they're getting a lot of pressure on Hostetler. Earlier in the game, they were blowing these guys off the line. Now, all of a sudden, going into the wind, field position has been a little poorer, and their effort has been terrible.
From the 28, 2nd and 10 for the Giants. Howard Cross in motion. Hostetler complete for the first down to Mark Bavaro. A 13-yard pass play, and Mark Bavaro has had his share of injuries to shape to get back into decent shape at this point in the season.
Both receiver coach Tom Coughlin and head coach Bill Parcells told us no one appreciates how tough this guy is. They want to talk about his knee. They say, how about his operation on his shoulder? How about his operation on his ankle? How about the fact this guy has always played hurt and is just now in the 17th week having his best practices back in New Jersey?
4 surgeries in the last 2 years. And Hampton slicing his way up. Stopped by Sean Smith. 2-yard gain will bring up a 2nd and 8.
In order for the Giants to re-control this game, they must get their running game back to the dominating factor it was in the first quarter. So far, since the last couple possessions, they sort of fudged the ball around and sort of excuse me blocks from the New England Patriots. They're not plowing these guys like they were earlier.
Rodney Hampton, 6 carries for 35 yards. Always Carthon and Rodney Hampton in the backfield out of the pro set. Hostetler to pass. and is complete to Bavaro. And Bavaro knocked out of bounds at the 48 by Andre Tippett. Will bring up a 3rd and 3. 5 gained on the play.
And here's something tight ends become accustomed to. Tight ends catch balls in unusual places and in places where you're gonna get hit. Ball slightly thrown behind him. Bavaro has to adjust. And believe me, folks, on this turf in New England, this stuff's been down since 1984. That had to hurt when Bavaro landed on it. I was out here for the pregame of the NFL Today. That is hard as a rock. It feels like a parking lot.
Well, for all the New York fans who are wondering why Bavaro wasn't catching more this season, you know why now. Giants, 1 of 4 third down conversions. Hostetler has the first down and more. Knocked down at the 42. A 10-yard run by Jeff Hostetler. Ilya Jarashchuk. You think Bill Parcells might have been cringing on this run?
Well, if it wasn't for Rodney Hampton, number 27, and the lead block he got out in front of Hostetler, this hit would have been a lot worse. Look at that block right there on Marion, number 31. Hostetler shrugs him off, and just for a few seconds, when Hobby hit him, Parcells stopped breathing.
3:11 remaining in the first half. Tie ball game, 10 apiece. Howard Cross in motion. Hampton for 2 yards on the play. Will bring up a 2nd and 8. Well, Bill Parcells said he did want to try to get Matt Cavanaugh some playing time today, but I'm sure not at the expense of Hostetler injury-wise.
Yeah, at this rate, Matt and his clipboard shan't be parted. They will be together for the whole day, because the New England Patriots and Rod Rust on defense are attacking and attacking this New York offense. That time, Maurice Hurst did a fine job on a corner blitz to break up that run.
As we take a look at Marion Hobby, the rookie out of Tennessee, hurt on the play for the Patriots, adding to that lengthy injury list already. Lepet left earlier with a neck burner, and now Marion Hobby.
Andre Tippett off to a great start so far. He's got 9 tackles plus a forced fumble. In contrast, linebacker LT has got 2 tackles. Take a look here at Hobby. Let's see how he gets hobbled. Very end of the play, watch us getting pushed back by Hobby. Right there. Those piles do more things than AstroTurf and people.
Big piles especially. Both teams with the full complement of timeouts remaining. 2:34 remaining in the first half. Play action. Hostetler looking for Baker and throws it away.
Hostetler left no doubt on that one. He almost put that one in the snowbank behind the bench.
And Chris Gannon applied the pressure on Hostetler. Will bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Giants. Ball marked at the 40 of New England.
Hobby's left knee being attended to by the physician on the sideline. And that last play sort of brings to mind for me how the New York Giants use their wide receivers. They don't seem to use them as big play threats. If they're going to pass the ball, they throw to the backs and the tight ends. The receivers almost seem like decoys.
3 wide receivers on 3rd down here. Hostetler having to run it. Has the first down and dives down to about the 27. Sean Smith on the stop. A 13-yard run by Jeff Hostetler.
Hostetler showing that facet of the New York offense now that he's in there for Phil Simms. That makes him a real threat. You've got to control your passing lanes. You've got to get in this guy's face and not leave him space to run. A lot like other NFC East quarterbacks, Randall Cunningham and Tim Rosenbach, he does not mind bringing the ball down and running.
And we're at the 2-minute mark of the first half. Ball game all knotted at 10. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Giants started off strong in the first quarter. Patriots have battled back. Both teams, 3 timeouts remaining. Rod Rust squad playing inspired football. Have the Giants deadlocked 10-10. This drive has taken over 4 minutes for the Giants. Ball at the 28 of the Patriots. Out of the pro set, Ingram in motion. And flags are thrown on the play. And it looked like Eric Moore, right guard, may have moved a bit there.
This is the deepest penetration either team has made going into this breeze. I got to call it a wind. It's blowing pretty good.
And there is Moore hobbling off the field. Third-year player out of Indiana.
Illegal motion. Number 60 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
And that was Moore. New York, 4 penalties, 26 yards. New England, only 1 penalty for 10 yards.
Here's Moore right here working at right guard. Watch him sort of hiccup and leave a little early, right there. Now watch him at the very end is when he gets the injury. Right there, working against Brown, the linebacker, the pile falls into the back of his leg.
That wasn't a hiccup, that was a belch. First and 15 from the 33. And Hostetler runs it out of bounds. And maybe picked up a yard on the play.
And we noticed earlier in the game, we kept saying, look, folks, look for it to be a running game. They're going to run. Maybe they'll pass occasionally. Last couple of possessions, all of a sudden, the New York Giants haven't been able to run the ball very effectively. They become very concerned about their passing game, and suddenly their quarterbacks are so physically concerned about keeping healthy, and Hostetler is now running all over the field. Not the ideal situation for Bill Parcells and the Giants.
Indeed, Hostetler gained only a yard back. Second and 14 from the 32. 1:48 remaining in the half. All tied at 10. And Hostetler dropped for the second time this afternoon. Second sack for the Patriots. Chris Gannon. So 32 sacks on the year for the Patriots as a squad. We'll bring up a 3rd and 15. Brent Williams had the first crack at Hostetler.
And Williams is the one that gets the pressure. Working right here. He gets in here, gets the initial pressure, and then Gannon gets the sack. He gets the scraps. Watch this. Watch Williams. He flushes them out. He causes Hostetler to step up, and now Gannon, who's being blocked pretty effectively, is able to come off and get himself a sack.
3rd and 15. 3 wideouts. 1:10 remaining in the first half. And Hostetler escapes and is hit and dropped by Vincent Brown at about the 24. Well shy of the yardage needed for the first down. And 52 seconds remaining as you take a look at Vincent Brown signaling for the timeout for the Patriots.
And so far, Hostetler's got 4 carries for 32 yards.
Most of the variety where he had to run.
Oh, and he has to run here, James. There is no doubt about it. He is getting all sorts of pressure. Gannon up the middle. Goad just does evade Goad. Now he's got to run. Matt Cavanaugh better stay loose on the sideline, because at the rate this guy's getting hit, I don't think he's going to last the whole game. This Patriots defense has really got Hostetler and the Giants rattled and off guard.
48 seconds remaining in the half. Giants with 3 timeouts remaining. The Patriots with 2.
And let's keep in mind, Barr will have to kick a field goal when and if he kicks this into this wind. And this wind is heading straight into him.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Greg and Terry with all the scores, highlights, and the latest playoff information from around the NFL. A 41-yard attempt by Matt Barr. And it's to the left. So the wind grabbed a hold of that one as Matt Barr misses the 41-yard field goal, and we remain deadlocked at 10.
And this stadium is the first place that Matt Barr ever kicked when he was a Pittsburgh Steeler back in their glory days on Monday Night Football. Look at this. He starts it out right in the middle, then the wind gets a hold of it. It's pushing it down and away. That ball started dying about the 10-yard line. It got up in the air, and the wind hit it and pushed it. Let's see the reaction from Matt Barr. It's good. It's good. Now he knows.
Would be quite an effective curveball in baseball.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
44 seconds remaining in the half. 1st and 10 from the 24 for the Patriots. Hodgson to Stevens. And Stevens tackled by Perry Williams. No gain on the play.
If you're the New England Patriots right here, you get this half over, go in the locker room and pop some champagne, because this is the best half of football you've played all year long.
But New England loses the ball as the Giants recover with 16 seconds remaining at the 25 of the Patriots. And just that quickly, as Gary Reasons recovers the fumble.
Things like this are the reasons teams are 1-14 in the 15th week, and that's an exchange problem between the quarterback and the center in this critical a time. If anything, now is the time you guarantee that exchange, and veteran Gary Reason was right there to drop on it.
And give Leonard Marshall the credit using his 285 listed pounds anyway, knocking Hodgson out of the way at only 195 to free up the ball for Reasons. 1st and 10 from the 25 of New England.
16 seconds, time for at least 2 good shots into the end zone.
And the Giants with 3 timeouts remaining. Ostetler rolling right. Incomplete, intended receiver Mark Ingram. 12 seconds remaining in the half.
Second down and 10 for the Giants offense.
Well, Bill Parcells was quite honest in saying coming into this game today, this is not the kind of game we can get good headlines from. If we win big, we will have been expecting. If we lose, they'll say, well, we weren't fired up for this and we're going to the playoffs anyway.
For them, a close victory, as far as the press is concerned, will be a loss in the newspapers in New York. It'll be treated like a loss.
Well, the Giants burn off one of their 3 timeouts, left with 2. And Matt Barr looking to get another opportunity.
Is proud to sponsor the New England Patriots this season.
And make the proper adjustments given the wind blowing.
$10 with a mail-in rebate.
And with a 7-step drop-back type of a pass, the Giants only have time now for 1 more play before that field goal, so they must spend that play either in the end zone or on a quick crossing pattern that opens up across the field and lets one of the wide receivers use their athletic ability to get into the end zone.
Randy, hats off a little to the Patriots for turning momentum around after being blown out the first few series in the first quarter, but staying emotionally high enough to make it a ball game.
I think they played about as well as New York let them play. The Giants have kept the Patriots in this game with their lack of emotion.
2nd and 10. Low pass caught by Ingram. Ingram has the first down and steps out of bounds at about the 10. 15-yard pass play with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
Bill Parcells and the Giants staying with their M.O., and that is conservative. If you're not running the ball, you're throwing it where nobody else has a chance to get it. Give it to your wide receiver, Ingram, and let him see what he can do with it. You've got 2 timeouts left.
Ostetler delivering the slider for that game. And Matt Barr will come on to attempt the field goal with 6 seconds remaining.
New York burns off its 2nd timeout. They have 1 remaining to set up this field goal. Well, this ought to be a drill shot for Matt Barr. I mean, this is just kind of a half sand wedge. Here's the LT. I think LT's over there with Bill Parcells discussing their options. I think Lawrence feels they should go for it, and Bill's explaining to him exactly why he's decided not to.
You think Lawrence might want to be a wide receiver on this play?
I don't think he wants to be a wide receiver at any time in life.
It should be about a 27-yard attempt for Matt Barr.
He's got to kick through this ball and really drill it into this wind.
And he does. So with 2 seconds remaining in the half, the Giants ease out in front by 3 on that 27-yard field goal by Matt Barr. And don't forget, coming up next, Greg and Terry in the studio with NFL halftime, and following them will be the doubleheader game, Detroit and Seattle. Seattle still with a shot at the playoffs, but they need some help, Randy.
They need some help. They need a loss by Cincinnati or a loss by Houston, and they need to beat Detroit to get into the playoffs.
And the NFL's second leading rusher will be at work, Barry Sanders, in that game, Detroit and Seattle. Makes no difference what kind of surface Barry Sanders runs on. He's effective.
Well, it's not really a home field advantage for Seattle anyway. Detroit's used to playing indoors in front of a loud crowd. They'll be indoors in front of a loud crowd in Seattle. The run and shoot is not affected that much by crowd noise and audibles, because there are no audibles. And that Detroit Lion team, as they proved last week when they knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs, is a team that surges hard and late in the year.
Matt Barr kicks this one off with 2 seconds remaining. And a tricky kick by Matt Barr, and that'll do it for the first half. So the Giants, on the strength of a 27-yard field goal by Matt Barr, move out in front by 3 at the half.
CBS Sports.
Well, those of you who have been watching football between the Giants in New England and the Cowboys and the Falcons, we welcome you back to our studio in New York, everyone. Along with Terry Bradshaw, I'm Greg Gumbel. Let's run down the scores and highlights for you. Beginning with the game at Fulton County Stadium, which the Cowboys need to get into the playoffs today. They would like to go in on a winning note, but the Falcons lead it by a score of 7-0 at halftime. And, of course, all of the pressure is on Babe Laufenberg, a lot of pressure from the blitz.
Well, all day long, every time the Cowboys have gone to the pass, what the Falcons have done is blitz Laufenberg, and right now the offensive linemen are totally confused, and this is something the Falcons will continue to do, Greg, until Laufenberg picks it up.
Tracy Johnson, a 1-yard touchdown run for the only score, and take a look at how it is at Champions in New Orleans. Tommy Barnhart, John Forcade, and Morton Anderson looking on. Biggest Falcons fans in the world right about now, aren't they? It is 7-0 in favor of the Falcons at halftime. They're also at halftime at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Bengals needing a win today to make the playoffs. They lead the Cleveland Browns by 2 touchdowns, 14-0. As they approach halftime, it is now halftime in Miami. The Dolphins leading the Colts 16-14. Jeff George has thrown a couple of touchdown passes, including a 63-yarder to Jesse Hester, but the Colts trailed by 2. Halftime at RFK Stadium in Washington, the Redskin defense has shut the Bills down while Chip Lohmiller has kicked 3 field goals. Buffalo's turned the ball over twice, 9-0 Redskins. Halftime at New England, the game some of you are watching here on CBS, and the Giants are leading the Patriots by a score of 13-10. Now, the Giants drove 60 yards in 10 plays, and Jeff Hostetler finds Dave Meggett out of the backfield for 17 yards and a touchdown, and that made it 7-0 Giants, but back came the Patriots for the long bomb from Tommy Hudson.
All this is simple. 3 defensive backs covering 2 wide receivers, and the safety elects to double the slot. Fryer gets by the corner, says, I think I have help. He didn't have any help over top. Fryer gets by him. Easy touchdown.
Barr's field goal as time wound down in the first half has the Giants on top by 3. And San Francisco at Minnesota as they approach halftime. 1 minute to play in the half. The Vikings leading the 49ers by a score of 10-0. The game's lone touchdown from Herschel Walker.
Well, all you got to do is get Herschel outside, let him square up his shoulders, and then he's extremely hard to bring down, running over everyone.
Seems to me someone even predicted that the 49ers could lose to the Vikings today.
Who could that be, Greg?
We'll remind you, this is a doubleheader day of NFL action here on CBS.
Back here in Foxborough, and the massacre we were talking about at the top of the show has not developed. Giants leading the Patriots by only 3. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And Randy, although New England is staying close, you think that the Giants are actually allowing them that?
Well, Tommy Hodson's been the difference for New England. But as far as the Giants have let New England stay close because they got off to such a great early start. All they talked about was, let's get the ball running. Let's get everything going in the air. If we have to pass, we will pass. They ran the ball good early, and then later they threw to Meggett for their only touchdown today. It was a very nice throw, a good catch by Meggett, and most of all, it was a good call by the Giants coaching staff, because this ball right here, Meggett circling out of the backfield, no contest. He's got a matchup with Juraschuk. That's a mismatch right there. And from the New England standpoint, you see Tommy Hodson drops back, plays chicken with the pass rush, steps up at the last minute, and Irving Fryer takes advantage of a drop coverage and gets free for an easy touchdown.
Both quarterbacks impressive in the first half, 8 of 13. Hodgson for 93 yards, Hostetler for 89 yards. And we'll be back with more in the second half here. Giants on top by 3. Cleveland Square here in beautiful Foxborough, Massachusetts. A beautiful New England town indeed. And a good afternoon for football here at Foxborough Stadium. Giants on top of the Patriots 13-10 as we get set to start the third quarter. As you take a look at the stats with the win, Randy.
With the win, look at the difference right here we're going to see coming up on the next stat when you're going into the win. Only 3 points, and those 3 points were only scored because of a fumbled snap between Tommy Hodgson and center Villa. We talked earlier about Andre Tippett having a Pro Bowl year. Look at the difference between what he's done so far today and what Lawrence Taylor has done so far today.
Giants set to receive the second half kickoff as David Meggett takes it 1 foot in the end zone across the 10 and run out of bounds at about the 23-yard line by Mickey Washington. So the Giants with a little better field position than the last 2 times will start from their own 23. And the Giants, who started off so strong, scoring on their first 2 possessions of the game, waned a bit and lead it 13-10. Stephen Baker, Mark Ingram to the near side. Anderson, the lone back. And Ronnie Lepet back in for the Patriots, suffering with a neck burner. And Anderson trying to churn his way for a couple of yards. And picks up 3 in the process. Will bring up a 2nd and 7. We saw Ronnie Lepet earlier leaving the field under his own power.
And we talked about the year that Andre Tippett has had and what a tough year it's been losing and going through all the bad situations here in New England. But James, you had a little conversation with Lepet about how extra tough it's been this year for Ronnie Lepet.
Losing will do that.
And his father passed away earlier this year down in Florida. I'm sorry, that was Fred Marion, not Ronnie Lepet.
2nd and 7, ball at the 26. Ingram in motion. Play action. Hostetler has to get rid of it quickly, throwing in the direction of Mark Bavaro, but he had to get rid of it quickly as Brent Williams was right on top of him.
And the New England defense picks up right where they left off in the first half, and that's putting pressure on Hostetler, and he's ending up the plays on his back.
We'll bring up a 3rd and 7. Randy, you know, so often we hear, as you take a look at Eric Moore, who left the game with a sprained ankle, may not come back. Neck burner sounds really bad. How bad is it?
It's a pinched nerve. It's something offensive. That's why Eric Moore is wearing that neck roll. It's because of neck burner. Linemen get them all the time and don't miss a play. DB's running back, they could miss whole halves, whole games with those.
6 defensive backs in on 3rd and 7, and it's complete. Hostetler finds Mark Bavaro, but he's going to be shy about a half a yard of what was needed for the first down. Junior Robinson on the stop.
Let's watch this from the ground level. Hostetler standing in there strong, trying to ignore whatever pass rush he has been getting. Bavaro right here is just short. He's counting on being able to get that first down. Once he turns around, Marion doesn't give him the chance.
Let's see where they spot the ball, and it looks to be still shy of what's needed for the first down, but the all-important spot. Ooh. A favorable spot indeed. Well, certainly many viewers out there, whenever they think of New York Giants and announcers, they think of Pat Summerall. And on behalf of all of us from CBS, we'd certainly like to wish Pat Summerall a speedy recovery. We understand he is at home resting comfortably. And we'd like to see him back in action very soon. Pat Summerall.
Giants definitely got a break right there on that spot. That was a terrible spot by the officials, because Bavaro, in my opinion, was clearly short of the first down.
About a half yard when he was first hit. 1st and 10. Anderson. And Anderson driving hard. 4 yards gained on the play will bring up Actually, about 6 yards. He ran pretty good on that play looking at the spot, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 4. So Otis Anderson getting his legs in playoff shape. Ball marked at the 39. 12:43 remaining in the third quarter. Giants on top by 3. Anderson. And second and third effort by Anderson as he squirts across the 45 for the first down. 6 yards run by Otis Anderson, and talk about extra effort.
Because the New England defense on this play is attacking. Watch around Bart Oates, the center. Watch Goat 72. He's attacking. Brown, the linebacker, he attacks through. Jaraschuk, the rest of the defense. Anderson keeps churning and moving. Guys are putting pads on him, but nobody's putting an arm on him.
And Otis Anderson running well, 9 carries for 43 yards. Ball at the 45 of the Giants. 1st and 10. Play action. Hostet to the left. Complete to Bavaro. And Bavaro across midfield to about the 48. 7-yard pass play. Will bring up a 2nd and 3. Vincent Brown driving Bavaro out of bounds.
Thus far on this particular drive, the New York Giants, with the benefit of a poor spot, giving them a first down, have seemed to recapture a little bit of that fire, a little bit of the emotion, and a little bit more of the physical nature what made them successful in the first quarter against these Patriots.
Stephen Baker, Ingram to the near side. 2nd and 3. Ball at the 48 of the Patriots. On the ground, Anderson. And Anderson dropped on the ground. Good tackle by Tim Goad, 3rd-year player out of North Carolina.
And the New England Patriot defense we keep mentioning is attacking and running. Now watch over here on this side of the defense. Watch what this defense does to the New York Giants. They're trying to position, but they're twisting and they're stunning and they're blitzing, and Goad comes free. There's no one that can block him because he's running behind his own guys.
Goad, a shot putter as well in college. Good track athlete. 3rd and 3. Ball at the 49.
Fans cheering the sun coming out here in Foxborough.
Hostetler going up top. Incomplete. Good defensive work by Maurice Hurst as he was defending Steve Baker.
Maurice Hurst was extremely lucky at the very end of that play. He turned around and looked back for the ball. There was plenty of contact between Baker and Hurst just does turn back. Now watch this. Remember, after 5 yards, you can't touch him. He's not looking. He's bumping. Now he looks back just as he puts his arm on Baker. Good timing. Does he agree? You think he wants pass interference right here or what?
Sean Landeta on to punt. Irving Fryar back at his own 10 for the Patriots. Landeta, excellent punt. And gets a favorable roll. Often corner type punt that picks up a few extra bounces and turns into a 43-yard punt. And the Patriots will operate deep in their own territory. Bill Parcells taking a look at his squad, having pinned the Patriots back at their own 5. New England will attempt 1st and 10 from the 5.
And this is Parcells' style of football. If you don't score, you get your punt protected, pin the other team back, you stop them, and then you score.
Stevens. And John Stevens with the strong run up near the 10.
Now coming into this game, we showed on NFL Today the Parcells wish list. And he wanted a power running game. Well, we got that in the first quarter, but it went away since then. Great special teams. They've had great special teams in spots. That was a great punt by Sean Landeta. Defense knocked the balls loose, create excitement. I don't think so. The excitement's been created so far by Tommy Hodson. He made one mistake fumbling a snap.
6-yard gain by Stevens, 2nd and 4. And Stevens with the first down. And John Stevens, 3rd-year player out of Northwest Louisiana State, with an impressive run, 10 yards, stopped by Dave Durison.
Real critical spot of the field right here where you got a team backed up, you got to stop them. And here's one of the guys that was always in charge of stopping people when they were backed up, linebacker Carl Banks, sitting out this game with a strained groin. And it must bother him to watch a running game this bad in New England blast out of the territory.
And Stevens with another 6-yard run, maybe 7, depending upon the spot. John Stevens running strong.
We talked about in the first quarter, James, where emotion and how ready you are to play shows up very well in your tackling. When we were showing early in the game, the Giants blasting New England. Right now, New England's coming out from deep back in their own territory, and they're the ones putting the hurting on the Giants.
Pepper Johnson out at right inside backing for the Giants. Gary Reason's in. 2nd and 4. And Stevens again, and Stevens meets Gary Reasons. Not much on the play there. 3rd and 2 situation coming up. That shot we saw of Carl Banks. Interesting story what happened at the top of the game when Banks realized he wasn't going to play and Rader was going to be in his place.
Oh, exactly. Steve Diassi, the inside linebacker, comes up to me and says, hey, you know, Carl Banks ain't active. I said, yes, so what? He says, Rader is somewhere here in the stadium. They can't find him. He's been inactive for 14 of the 16 weeks, and they were paging him over the PA system.
Hudson throws it incomplete, intended receiver was Zeke Mowai. Well, they finally found Rader. I think he might have been out munching.
Big Tom Rader, 6'7", 290 in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame. Probably pulled him off a tailgate party. Say, excuse me, but you must work today.
That was kind of interesting how they were paging him. I thought they were paging the fans.
I tell you, Diassi had fun with it. He was laughing.
Make it back to the Giants to receive this Brian Hansen punt. And a Butte. Megan from the 17. And gets across the 30 to about the 32. George Adams on the stop. A 44-yard punt, 14-yard return. 13-10 ball game. Giants on top. 7:38 remaining in the 3rd quarter of play. Giants holding to a 3-point lead over the New England Patriots. Patriots trying to keep them going 1 and 15. And in the AFC Central, a muddled picture still indeed. The bottom line is that Pittsburgh is on top right now. Houston can ill afford a loss in that race. If they lose their out period, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati would be in. And I guess if we were to test people on that one, they would say, well, hey, they went by a little quicker. Maybe we'll call him the ace pupil Randy.
Well, I think the person you always have to bring in to explain the NFL playoff policy is Professor Irwin Corey, because only Professor Irwin Corey could appreciate exactly the fine nuances of the playoff system. I don't know where they came up with this thing. The NFC's kind of settled. The AFC, by the end of today, have a pretty good idea.
Raiders control their own destiny. They can win the division if they win. 2nd and 8 here. Hostetler avoiding one tackler and throws it and nearly complete. The intended receiver was Rodney Hampton and Vincent Brown all on top of him. And Brent Williams provided the pressure on the quarterback.
That was a very nice play by Vincent Brown, knocking that ball away, because Hostetler evaded Williams' rush and just lobbed that sort of like a little grenade launch over the edge. Was going to go right in there and drop it in, and Brown knocked it away just in time.
Vincent Brown, 3rd-year player out of Mississippi Valley State, a school you know a little bit about.
Well, they put out a pretty good wide receiver a few years back. I think he wears number 80 now for the 49ers, a guy named Rice.
3rd and 8. Hostetler has the first down and more up near midfield. Junior Robinson tackling Hostetler up near the 47, a 16-yard scamper for Jeff Hostetler. 5 carries for 48 yards on the day by Hostetler.
Now, sometimes coaches will call quarterback draws when they want their quarterback to run. Here, the Giants were trying crossing patterns. No one popped free and came open, and Hostetler just had to run. Watch this thing right there. You see that? The way he landed? He tucked and landed on his back. That protects his shoulders. Look at Stephen Bacon. Look at him blocking on Hurst, number 37. Wide receivers are kind of like they're nuisances, like little gnats.
All 160 pounds of them. Hampton on the ground. And Hampton across midfield to about the 48. Well, some doings between Dallas and Atlanta. Let's check back in with Greg Gumbel.
JB, the Cowboys trying to operate from their 1-yard line. Watch Tim Green penetrate and rack up Emmitt Smith for the safety. That makes it a 16-0 Falcons lead. And down in New Orleans, the Saints are celebrating. They could cash in on a Cowboy loss with a win over the Rams tomorrow night, James.
All right, Greg, and you said it. They've got to cash in, though. If the Cowboys lose, Rams have got to lose to the Saints in order for the Saints to be in it. Hostetler on second down and is dropped. Third sack of the afternoon for the Patriots. Tim Goad, along with Andre Tippett, will share the sack.
You got to give most of the credit to that man right there, Andre Tippett. He came smoking up on Hostetler, just did overrun him, got a little piece of cloth and managed to stay in on the tackle. Watch this. Bardos is trying to block on Goad. Goad's getting away, and nobody, except for Maurice Carthon, who was thinking about it, is trying to block Andre Tippett.
A loss of 8 on a play, 3rd and 15, and Tippett certainly did have him in the grass ahead of time, so it should be his 4th sack of the year. Andre Tippett, a martial arts expert. 3rd down situation and overthrows Meggett. As you take a look, the face of Lawrence Taylor says it all.
That speaks volumes about the attitude and the emotion right now of the New York Giants. Kind of like, so? I mean, Hostetler looks shaken. He looks really kind of bothered by the New England defense right now.
And he had Brent Williams all up in his face, all 6'4", 275 pounds of him. And yet another Patriot down on the turf. Don't know if it's Tim Goad or not. Randy, you mentioned this surface is no fun to play on at all.
Well, you land on this stuff, it hurts. And big Tim Goad, the former shot putter, probably got the wind knocked out of him a little bit because they were letting everybody go. That was a screen pass. It was very well set up. Meggett was right there, and it was just a pathetic throw by Hostetler. He had the guy wide open and overthrew him.
So Vendetta back at his own 29 to punt. Irvin Fryer back at his own 15. Lowen pushes Fryer back to his own 10. And Fryer gets back to the 15. A 46-yard punt, 6-yard return. Patriots ball when we come back. That should be a good one indeed coming Tuesday, but up next also should be a decent one. Detroit and Seattle. Barry Sanders battling against the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks playoff hopes still alive.
Everybody talks about that exciting running shoot offense for Detroit. I love watching that defense. Mike Hofer, you got Spielman at middle linebacker, you got Jerry Ball at nose guard, you got Blades at safety. That is a tough, aggressive defense that Detroit puts on the field.
4:40 remaining in the third quarter of play. Giants on top, 13-10. This is John Stevens, and Stevens blasting nicely off right guard. 4 yards picked up on the play. Will bring up a 2nd and 6. Well, some coaches, a lot of coaches, as a matter of fact, love the possession number, although it doesn't make any difference in the case of the Detroit Lions, though.
Well, the New York Giants and Bill Parcells, they love time of possession, and they love field position. Look at the Niners. Niners are 3rd. Not bad for a finesse team.
Short passing game. 2nd and 6. Stevens. 2, maybe 3.
William Roberts looks about as excited about this game as the rest of the Detroit, the rest of his Giant teammates today here in Foxborough. The Giants right now, offensively and defensively, are playing with relative lack of emotion. It's almost like a preseason game attitude for the Giants, and New England is trying to pull this one off.
3rd and 3, 4 wide receivers. Stevens, the ball carrier. Stevens with the first down and more. Loses the ball. And the official pointing down at the ground saying down by contact. So it will remain New England ball and first down at about the 36. A 12-yard run by John Stevens. And boy, look at him getting up slow. Randy, that carpet does not have much cushion up under it at all. They say it's glued.
It has no cushion. Now, what we have to see, is he down when this ball comes out? He's running here. Now, is the ball coming out? He's going down. He's going down. That's out. Oh, that is close. That is very close.
So the Patriots better run the play quickly, and they do. Hodgson complete to Mark Cook, and Cook up about 2 yards shy of the first down marker. 7 yards gained on the play, and smartly Hodgson got the crew up there and ran that play quickly because that was a fumble.
If they'd have reviewed this, I believe this would have gone in the Giants' favor. Now watch the ball coming out. Watch his knee. Does it get to the ground? That ball's out right there before the knee ever comes to the ground. That was a fumble. Smart play by Tommy Hodgson and the New England Patriots getting up and running that next play to nullify a replay.
And a nice job by Mark Collins with that behind-the-back move to knock it loose. This is 2nd and 4. And Tutupu. Well, Randy, we were just told by our producer, Bob Monsbach, that the play was ruled a fumble and that the Patriots recovered the ball. Third ball at the 44. Tutupu, the lone back. Trips formation through the ball carrier. And gives him the first down. Myron Guyton on the stop. Thirteen-year veteran showing youthful legs. 9-yard gain. 5 carries for 25 yards for Tutupu.
And watch this left side open up. Tutupu, it's stuffed in the middle, then the left side just all of a sudden creates a hole by the coverage and by the pursuit of the New York defense and the perseverance of that man right there. Fine run.
52 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play. Patriots at the 47 of New York, trailing by 3. Hodgson, it's a pass with time, going for the home.
And they're going to mark this ball back on the 1-yard line.
Momentum carried him into the end zone. Intended receiver, Irvin Fryer. And Collins, great defensive coverage.
It had to be great defensive coverage because Tommy Hodgson and Irving Fryer have every opportunity after that short pump fake to get 6 points. But Collins stays with Fryer step for step. Little pushing, little shoving. What a fine catch. Caught right there on the 1-yard line, and his momentum carries him into the end zone.
Second interception of the season for Mark Collins. Of 1988. Trying to see if the Patriots can win only their second game of the season, trailing the Giants by 3. New York's ball at its own 1 after that interception by Mark Collins. And Otis Anderson spinning his way ahead for about 2.5.
And earlier here in the quarter, we saw the New England Patriots come blasting out on the New York defense and get out of a similar situation. The Giants need to give Sean Landeta, at worst case, room to kick in the end zone if they have to punt.
You see the time remaining in the third quarter of play. And the teams will allow the clock to run out. And the Giants will take it on their own 4 at the other end of the field. So that's the end of the third quarter of play with the score New York 13, New England 10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 13-10 as we start the fourth quarter of play.
You know, in the Giants' first 2 possessions, they had a touchdown and a field goal. Their last 6, they've had 3 punts, a field goal thanks to a New England fumble, a missed field goal, and their own fumble.
Sellout crowd inspiring the play of the Patriots. Second and for the ball at their own 4. Hostetler throws it complete to Ingram for the first down. Run out of bounds at the 19-yard line by Maurice Hurst. 15 yards picked up on the play.
And Hostetler on several occasions today has had to move. He's had to get around. And right here, it's by design. A quick, short rollout, almost a la the run and shoot. Hostetler spots Ingram and nails him on the chest. Now they have plenty of room. Now the Giants can go back to their normal offense.
Sideline camera work can be dangerous. Hostetler with a bit more breathing room. 1st and 10 from the 19. Anderson. First down. And an extra 7. Otis Anderson. Strong running indeed. 19 yards picked up on the play. Marion and McSween on the tackle.
Watch a wall form right here. Watch this play. The offensive line led by Jumbo Elliott there, the left tackle, blocking on Brown. They stuff the entire defense of New England in the middle. Otis Anderson goes outside, then has the presence of mind to come back inside where those little DBs are. Stay outside, some of those linebackers can catch you. Get back inside once you get downfield, because there's nothing but defensive backs.
12 carries for 60 yards. 5 yards per average for Anderson. And Anderson only about a yard here. Well, let's head back to New York and check in with Greg.
Hey, JB, in Atlanta, Ken Willis missed a 34-yard field goal earlier. He misses from 33. This time, the Cowboys not exactly grabbing the playoff bull by the horns. It's 16-0 Falcons in the 3rd, James.
All right, Greg, and the only rookie free agent on the Cowboys, Willis. Not a good foot there. 9 situation here for the Giants. Ball marked at their own 39.
In similar situations, New England has stunted and blitzed a lot in this down.
And a great catch by Maurice Carthon, who had to turn around and reach down for it. Hostetler under pressure, 6 yards. 3rd and 4 situation coming up.
And that pressure on that last play was coming from Andre Tippett on a quick blitz. Hostetler did everything he could getting rid of that ball.
Especially knowing that Tippett wanted a piece of him.
This is an opportunity for a time-consuming drive by the New York Giants. It takes a lot of time off the clock and kill the Patriots.
On 3rd and 4. Incomplete. Intended receiver Stephen Baker. And Baker had Maurice Hurst all over top of him.
Take a look here at the very end. Ooh, right off the chest, right off the face, through the hands. Baker should have had that one.
Randy, you mentioned something quite candidly about how the Patriots certainly want to look good on tape today for the new bosses coming in next season, specifically the CEO. And Fryer decides to let this. So New England will take over at its own 20, a 56-yard punt, touchback.
Back in 1979 when he first got there, got us in a team meeting and said, in case you haven't noticed, you're on the worst team in football. If you can't play here, you can't play anywhere. These guys today from New England are trying to prove to either their new boss next year, Sam Jankovic, or wherever it is they end up next year, that they can play football in the NFL.
They've also got a sellout crowd here to try and impress with the fact that they ought to be a bit more supported next year. Take a look, Giants on top 13-10. Jeff Hostetler, 12 of 22 for 123 yards, and New York controlling the ball on the ground by and large. 1st and 10 from the 20. Tommy Hodgson throws it in the direction of John Stevens, incomplete. Lawrence Taylor with the footsteps. Will Stevens.
Little friendly nudging there by Lawrence Taylor on Stevens, but that ball was totally uncatchable. Would have been a real stretch to try to throw a flag on that.
Is there such thing as a friendly nudge from LT?
Well, with the press he's been getting lately in New York, they're talking about him slowing down and losing a step and not quite being as dominant. That's got a little bit to do with it. I think he's also had the luxury of having better defensive players playing with him.
Stevens turns the corner and run out of bounds at about the walls. Running him out of bounds.
Just to follow up on that a little bit with Lawrence Taylor. You know, when he first came in the league in 81, 82, 83, he didn't have a whole lot of support crew around him. He had Harry Carson at linebacker, but outside of that, the guys with him weren't that great. Now on the other side, he's got Carl Banks playing very well. He's got Pepper Johnson playing inside very well. He's got a defensive backfield that's really molded and started to play well. It is not necessary for Lawrence Taylor to be the ultimate force on every single play anymore.
Hasn't lost his intensity. 3 of 8 third down conversions for the Patriots. This is 3rd and 5 from the 25. Hodgson. Incomplete. Intended receiver Marv Cook. So make it 3 of 9 on third down conversions. Tommy Hodgson, 1 of 5 for 6 yards and 1 interception in this half. So a noticeable decided slip here in the second half on the part of Tommy Hodgson.
That's one thing you always see with a young quarterback. They either have incredibly impressive first half and fall off in the second half, or it seems they have terrible first halves and then go crazy in the second half. We watched Troy Aikman early this year go like 12 of 12 in the second half and have a great game.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's concentration. They don't have the mindset for an entire 60 minutes.
Punting for the Patriots. And Giants move back to the 28. Across the 40 to about the 42-yard line, stopped by Ilya Jarashchuk. A 47-yard putt, 13-yard return. Giants ball when we come back. 13-10 score here, and coming up on Monday, the John Hancock Bowl, Michigan State, and
they're exciting. They've got a flashy defense, and they've got an offense that can score on any play.
And of course, Tuesday's game will have some bearing on the national championship. 1st and 10 for the Giants. Ball at their own 41, 11-17 remaining. Hampton. And Hampton brought down by Rod McSwain. Rodney Hampton running hard. Only 3 yards picked up on a play will bring up a 2nd and 7.
Now, we mentioned earlier when Otis Anderson ran that play, everything got bunched right in here. Anderson went outside and went up. Now watch here, Hampton is not given the opportunity to make that play. McSwain bounces him out, stretches him out very nicely, and that opportunity isn't there for the rookie to take advantage of.
Hampton 9 carries for 43 yards. This is 2nd and 7 from the 44. Hostetler to pass. Now runs and gets across the 45 to about the 46. Depending upon the spot, either a 2 or 3 yard run. Sean Smith on the tackle. Will bring up a 3rd and 4. Hostetler 6 carries for 52 yards. Only 309 no-shows today. As I mentioned, the 2nd largest crowd since November 6, 1988. But 2/3 of these fans
are Giants fans, and they're here to see this team right here, which if they drove very far today to see this game, it'd be kind of a disappointing drive back for the effort.
Stacy Robinson, the 3rd wide receiver, in for the Giants. Incomplete. Intended receiver David Meggett. Hostetler hit the turf with that pass. So the Giants will punt it away.
Coming into this game today, I think that Hostetler and the Giants didn't know who half these guys in the defense were for the New England Patriots. Every time Hostetler gets hit by Goad and hit by Williams and hit by Smith, he keeps looking around like, who are these guys?
He's finding out. Landetta. It's a punt to Irving Fryer. Fryer loses the handle on the ball. No signal yet. And it is New England ball, a 46-yard punt. And Fryer really escapes a big miscue there, recovering that mishandled ball.
He mishandles. He muffs this punt. It goes right through his arms. Look at him. Comedy of errors. Irving, you better get on that ball, or you can get in your car in the parking lot and head home a little bit early for your off-season.
Well, you think that the Patriots were ahead, but being within 3 of the Giants, I guess reason enough to cheer. 1st and 10 from the 5. Adams across the 10 to about the 12. 7 yards picked up on a play will bring up a 2nd and 3. And it looks like the Falcons will dash the hopes of Dallas. But Dallas needs the Saints to lose tomorrow in order to be in.
Cincinnati tied with Cleveland at 14. Cincinnati must win that game.
On 2nd and 2. 1st down and big yardage by George Adams and flags everywhere. Everson Walls on the tackle. Maybe a face mask, Randy.
Oh, it's got to be a face mask on a tackle like that. It's a little bit of a help to the defender to help drag a guy like Adams down.
George Adams putting on a bit of a show against his ex-teammates, and indeed it is against the Giants of the face mask variety.
And New England here just takes control up front. Good blocks on Howard and Johnson by the front line of the Patriots. Ooh, that wasn't even close. They got nothing but nose and face mask reaching in on that one. Let's watch it one more time. Ouch. Everson Walls, you should know better than that. 10 years.
Loss of a little bit of the speed might bring on that kind of grab.
This is the critical possession for New England. They must get points out of this possession.
1st and 10 from the 31, and on the ground again, John Stevens, and Stevens up near the 1st down marker. Impressive ground game. Well, let's go back to New York and check in with Greg Gumbel.
Well, JB, Atlanta is on the board again. Greg Davis, 23 yards out, makes it a 19-0 Falcons lead. And the Dallas hopes for victory today dwindling fast. They'd have to hope for a Rams victory over the Saints tomorrow, James.
All right, Greg, but still nothing to take away from the impressive job that Jimmy Johnson has done this season, turning that ball club around. 2nd and 1 here for the Patriots. 3 wide receivers. Stevens on the ground, and I don't think he got it. Lawrence Taylor with the hit.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the New England Patriots, and the National Football League is prohibited. We talked about this being the key possession for the New England Patriots. This is the down of the game for the Patriots. They're playing a ball-controlled time of possession team. They have to get this 1st down, and they have to score now.
3rd and actually half a yard, and Stevens has the 1st down.
Stevens is a very emotional back. You look at Stevens, he starts jumping up off of piles like that and shoving his fist up in the air and jumping up and down. Watch out for this guy when he starts getting excited. When he's emotional, he runs at his best. And this is nothing but will and want to by Stevens. He's stepping over piles. People are taking shots at his legs.
16 carries for 74 yards, 17 carries, and a loss on a play of about a yard. So we'll take it down to 75 yards now. Lawrence Taylor.
And of course, he also runs at his best when the guys in front of him are excited about what they're doing and don't let people gang tackle.
6:14 remaining in the contest. Giants on top, 13-10. Both teams full complement of timeouts remaining, 3 apiece. 2nd and 9. Hodgson to pass. complete to Marv Cook, and Cook across midfield, ridden out of bounds by Johnny Cooks. 6 yards picked up on a play will bring up a 3rd and 3.
Something we haven't seen out of the Patriots so far today, James, has been them taking advantage of crossing patterns, trying to get either underneath or just behind these New York linebackers. These linebackers on the inside for New York are very good at run protection. But as far as pass coverage and getting back and being a threat for interceptions, they're not quite as good.
Renee Thompson, Perry Williams, 6 DBs for the Giants, and Stevens. Second effort gives him the first down. Myron Guyton and Perry Williams on the tackle. 6 yards picked up by John Stevens.
On another day, this would not be a first down for the New England Patriots and Stevens, because they have not played with this kind of fire and emotion. He'd been stopped right there. That would have been end of story. Everson Walls does not come up and make any kind of a tackle, and that enables Stevens to bounce it out and get the first. Watch this. Irvin Fryer's giving him a little hit. He gives Irvin Fryer a little hit. Another head slap.
Out of the 8 plays in this drive, 6 carries by Stevens. Hudson. Was it caught? Incomplete. And Irving Fryer will argue the case, but not very vociferously, which means he knows.
He immediately ran right over to Bill Parcells, who's standing there on the Giants sideline, just smiling at him and holding the ball. Now let's see, is this complete or not? Remember, the ball cannot get to the ground, so do his hands get underneath the ball here? Well,
Simultaneous.
I think maybe Mr. Fryer could be an Emmy Award winner for the act he put on afterwards, but it would appear that the ball did hit the ground.
This will be the 10th play of the drive that started back on the New England 5. 4:43 remaining in the contest. George Adams inside the 40 to about the 39. Adams' run will bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Patriots. Pepper Johnson on the tackle.
Very impressive performance today, we keep mentioning, by Tommy Hodson, and nowhere has he been more impressive than on 3rd down. In these critical situations, they've either run the ball effectively or Tommy Hodson has created something to give them a first or a score.
Simpson to the near side. Dykes to the top of the screen on 3rd and 5. And it's complete for the first down. Mosi Tatupu. Six yards picked up on a play, 3:46 and counting on the clock.
Winning style and winning emotion is not something you turn on like a water spigot. The Giants can't just turn this on and say, hey, we're the Giants, we're NFC East champs. They can't do that to us. Somebody had better tell the New England Patriots, because Tatupu, Stevens, and the rest are fighting tooth and nail.
And George Adams trying to pick up maybe a hard-fought yard on that drive. 3:16 remaining. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Patriots. Ball marked at the 31. Both teams 3 timeouts remaining. And Tommy Hodson, who has spent a fair amount of time on the telephone this season talking with ex-LSU coach Mike Archer, looking impressive in the last several minutes.
And he needs to get a first down here to get in realistic field goal range for Starowski going into this win. Right now, it would be a 47-yarder.
2nd and 9. Hodson to Fryer, complete. Forward progress at about the 25. Will be about 3.5 yards shy of the first down. Mark Collins on the stop. And the nature of those conversations with Mike Archer, the ex-LSU coach, and Hodson, of the boosting nature, of course. But Hodson said, hey, this 1-14 season has not been the toughest on me. I've had tougher situations.
Well, he played the pressure cooker down there in Louisiana, and that is a rough place, and they expect you to be a Heisman Trophy winner after the great years he had his first couple of years.
And we're at the 2-minute mark, and the 2/3 Giants fans seemingly cheering for the Patriots, who trail by 3. Giants leading the Patriots by 3. New England has had the ball for 13 plays and 7 minutes and 31 seconds. Ball is marked at the 24 of New York.
And New England's facing its 4th straight 3rd down conversion. They've converted the last 3 straight in critical situations.
Stevens, the ball carrier, and will not get it. So after converting on 3 straight 3rd down conversions, we'll bring up a 4th and 2, and Randy, big decision time.
Easy decision time, James. You go for the field goal here. Starofsky's got a season long of 53 yards. This one here will be more in the 42 to 43 yarder, actually a 41 yarder, but it's into the wind. Remember though, this is almost a dead on into the wind kick. If he kicks through the ball and really drills into it, doesn't try to draw it or get cute with it, he should make this field goal.
This will be a 42-yarder. It's up, and it's no good.
And how quickly they turn, as these fans are now once again Giants fans. And here's why. Starofsky, this thing never had a chance. He yanked this thing right from the very beginning. That ball did almost the exact same thing that Barr's did earlier, except at least Barr started his out in the middle. His had a chance. Starofsky's never did. And here's Rod Rust's reaction.
And it's been that kind of a season for Rod Rust. Ever so close on a number of occasions. New England had burned off 8 minutes off the clock. Came up scoreless. And Otis Anderson keeping it on the ground for a couple.
And New England using one of their timeouts. They have 2 remaining right here.
Giants with 3 timeouts remaining. 1:24 remaining in the contest. New York holding to a 3-point edge over the New England Patriots.
New England could stop the Giants here using all their timeouts and get the ball back, but it will be with very little time left on the clock and a rookie quarterback put in a real tough situation against a top-notch defense.
And don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of this game, Detroit and Seattle. The Lions and Barry Sanders against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle still dreaming of playoff hopes.
And if you looked about a month to 6 weeks down the line, back I should say, you would never have guessed that Seattle Seahawks would be in the position they were. They started out terrible. Remember in Chicago, I think it was, they were going to start with the run and shoot. Chuck Knox was going to experiment with it. It ended up being the choke and gag, I think they referred to it as.
Chicago helped convince them to get out of it. 2nd and 8 from the 26. And driven up by Otis Anderson to the 30. And New England burns off yet another timeout, leaving them with 1. And this will be a 3rd and 3 situation coming up for the Giants. The coordinating producers of NFL on CBS, Chuck Milton and Ed Gorin. This telecast was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of CBS Sports is David Winter, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. And Randy, we'd also like to thank our very supportive and excellent technical crew all season long, our AD, Marcy Gauze, and the BA, Debbie Donnelly. And to set the stage for the second game coming your way this afternoon, Greg and Terry in the New York studio, NFL Today post-game show, and you'll get a chance to see Detroit and Seattle wage battle. Right now, 3rd and 4 here, 1:18 remaining in the game. Giants at their own 30. Bootleg, Hostetler has the first down and more across midfield and run out of bounds at the 41 of New England. Brad Marion ran him out of bounds. A 30-yard scamper by Jeff Hostetler.
Talk about a little emotion from a quarterback. Jeff Hostetler's got it. Like Phil Simms, he's kind of a fiery leader type guy. Made one mistake here, though. Go down in bounds. Don't go out of bounds and stop the clock.
7 carries for 92 yards on the afternoon by Jeff Hostetler.
Now let's watch this one more time. Watch the very end of this play. It all of a sudden occurs to Jeff, I shouldn't go out of bounds. Looks like he's headed there. Then he says, nope, I can't do that. Ah, but he does step out.
1:09 remaining in the contest. Giants at the 40 of New England. And the Patriots are out of timeouts as Hostetler goes down in the win the game kneel position. And correction, New England now has burned off its last timeout with 58 seconds remaining.
Make it 2nd down and 10 from the 40. We'd also ask as you leave today, please drive safely.
Well, now going into the next couple of weeks for the New York Giants and their coach Bill Parcells. He has announced publicly they're going to take Monday and Tuesday off. Then they'll work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then they'll take next weekend off. This is a tough week coming up for the Giants. They have no one to really prepare for. They can assume who's going to win the wild card games. You're never really quite sure, so you end up preparing for 2 or 3 teams. For the New England Patriots, it's going to be a long offseason after an incredibly long regular season.
Is there such a thing as a moral victory on the part of the Patriots having played as well as they did?
I don't think so. Not at all. They almost played well. They've almost been playing well now for 17 weeks of the NFL schedule. They've had a lot of almosts here in New England. What they really need is they need a top-notch football person in this organization to take this thing by the throat and make this team a winner. They don't have that here.
They also need some talent. Well, you talk about taking some time off. One thing that Bill Parcells mentioned as well is that he won't have any off-time period because he plans to play heavily in the free agent market, the Plan B free agent market.
Well, Bill Parcells says there's no time anymore for coaches. You used to have time off in the offseason. Now you're worried about Plan B starting February 1st because the Super Bowl's over. You're worried about Plan B right now, and that goes right up to the draft.
So Jeff Hostetler and the Giants hold on for a 3-point victory over the Patriots. The final score, New York 13, New England 10. Our coverage will continue with the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will bring you up to date on all of today's scores and highlights. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Massachusetts State Police cooperating with Patriots manager by placing safety calls on the highway.
Oh, welcome back to New York, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Those of you who watched the New York Giants beat the New England Patriots, not the most convincing victory in the world for the Giants, who are headed into postseason play.
Well, you know, I think at this stage of the season, last game before the playoffs, I'm not surprised that New England played as well as they did, and the game was as close as it was, even though I said, you know, it'd be a runaway. But Giants got in there. They'll end up with 13-3. Hey, second best. Well, they'll be tied with the 49ers if they upset the Vikings.
Oh, well, coming up in our doubleheader game, you will see the Lions visiting. We've been telling you all day long about the Dallas Cowboys. Well, they aren't going to get it done today. They're going to have to depend on the Rams tomorrow night. The Atlanta Falcons are leading the Cowboys by a score of 26-0 with about 3.5 minutes to play at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. There's Babe Laufenberg talking to the injured Troy Aikman. It was up to Babe. Didn't get it done today. Second half kickoff. This is Keith Jones of the Falcons.
Well, that's just something you would expect in bad weather, Greg. Field conditions, sloppy and muddy. Jones has the ability to cut it in and out. People falling all over the place, and there's your touchdown.
Meanwhile, trying to come back, the Cowboys give it to Emmitt Smith, and Tim Green says, no, not this time. The 2-point safety made it a 16-0 Falcon lead, and they are going crazy in New Orleans. The Saints watching from Metairie, Louisiana, and Deion Sanders with just a great interception.
Well, this is a great interception, but the thing that made it possible was the blitzing linebackers of the Falcons, something all day long that the Falcons did. Blitz their linebackers. The Cowboys never could block them. Laufenberg got intimidated by the pass, constantly been hit. He never got settled. There's your interceptions.
We were talking about Babe Laufenberg and whether or not he could get the job done today. At last report, 7 completions in 20 attempts for 80 yards, and Laufenberg was intercepted twice. Now, what the Cowboy potential loss means today, they could still make the playoffs if the Rams beat the New Orleans Saints tomorrow night in New Orleans. Now, whoever claims that final wild card spot in the NFC, Dallas or New Orleans, will open the playoffs at Soldier Field in Chicago. And with the Bears' unsettled quarterback situation, what do you think about the chances of either the Cowboys or the Saints going into Chicago?
Well, if either one of these teams go into and play the Bears with the decision having not been decided by Ditka upon who his quarterback was going to be until the very last moment, I would say the chances of a visiting team upsetting the Bears in Chicago. But otherwise, the Bears are too strong for either one of these two teams, and they should win easily at home in the first playoff.
All right, Terry, let's cover the rest of the scores for you. At Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, the Bengals need a victory today, and they're having a tough go of it against the Browns. 2 minutes to play in Cincinnati. The Bengals leading Cleveland by a score of 21-14. At Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, the Dolphins have a 23-17 lead on Indianapolis with 2 minutes to play there. At RFK Stadium in Washington, the Redskins, very convincing over the Buffalo Bills this afternoon. 29-14 is the score there. Final score in New England, the Giants over the Patriots by a score of 13-10. Giants, of course, get a first-round bye in the playoffs. And at Minnesota, Steve Young has just thrown 14 yards to Jerry Rice for a touchdown. San Francisco leading the Vikings by a score of 13-10. Now, a quick update for you in the Dallas-Atlanta game. Jay Novacek has just scored on a 27-yard touchdown catch, and this is it. And Novacek, a steady receiver all year long on the receiving end. So the Cowboys just on the board as time is running down at Fulton County Stadium. It's now a 26-7 Atlanta lead. And the NFL Today post-game show will continue in just a moment. Patriots gave it a mighty effort today, but fell 3 points shy of the New York Giants. Final score, the Giants 13 and New England 10. The Giants go on to the playoffs. They get a first-round bye. The Patriots will watch everything from their living rooms. Right now, let's send it back to Foxborough and two fine-looking gentlemen out there, James Brown and Randy Cross.
All right, Greg, and I've got to jab a little fun at us. We thought that
On paper, this game looked like a massacre, but the games aren't played on paper. They're played on the field, and a close affair.
Well, for 2 reasons, I think. Tommy Hodson and the Patriots were ready to play an emotional game today, and the Giants really weren't. The Giants were flat, and they were very unemotional. They're lucky to get out of here with a win.
One of the big objectives that Bill Parcells had going into today's game was to try to get a little confidence for his quarterback, Jeff Hostetler, and we had an opportunity to talk with the star of the game just a few minutes ago. Jeff Hostetler now joins us. Strong afternoon. Jeff, 12 of 23 for 122 yards, but you also did it with your legs. You got to feel confident now going into the playoffs.
Well, we got the win. That was the most important thing. We didn't get to move the ball as well as we wanted to. We didn't put as many points on the board as we wanted to, but I tell you what, they played a good game today, and we're happy to come out here with the win and going into the playoffs.
Jeff, was Bill Parcells a little bit worried watching you running around the way you were today?
I don't know if he worries or not, but, you know, they don't say anything about it as long as I protect the ball and get down when it gets a little hairy.
Jeff, you said you were looking forward to this opportunity and the pressure with it. Do you feel confident that you can take this team far in the playoffs?
Well, I think we got a nucleus here of a great ball club, and hopefully we can put everything together and play well going into the playoffs. And I'm just one member of it, and hopefully I can do my part, and the rest of the guys will do theirs, and maybe we'll be down there in Tampa.
Congratulations on the victory today, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Jeff Hostetler. All right, well, a win is a win, and the Giants have some days off and a first-round bye. Let's go back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, thanks very much. Do you see a difference in the Giants with Jeff Hostetler quarterbacking as opposed to Phil Simms?
Well, one of the statistics that was flashed on the screen there was the 80-something yards, 82 yards, I believe it was, rushing. I think this is the added dimension that Hostetler gives the Giants that Phil won't. Phil Simms will stay in the pocket. Hostetler will be flush out of the pocket, and he's not afraid to run with the football. Therefore, when he gets outside, he can put pressure on a defense. And in this day and time of football, that seems to be the best type of quarterback to have. And maybe going into the playoffs, if the Giants continue winning, Simms comes back, I doubt that you'll see Hostetler go to the bench.
All right, Terry. Meanwhile, let's tell you